1 minute. The Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program and welcome to August the 2nd. It's 1 month till spring. You're with the Editor-in-Chief. We're live with Lester's Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement, backed by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in 1 capsule to support joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health, Auckland. Good stuff. Right, the country's miserable, tough little secret is revealed today. Almost 50,000 small Kiwi businesses have collapsed and closed in the last 12 months, and it has largely gone under the radar. Furthermore, another 600 liquidations in just the last 3 months is twice the rate of 2 years ago. The brutal human toll in our fight to lower inflation. So we'll cheer you up with some gold medal news, I think, after that. From Japan, the 24 hours when the Kiwi sat on top of the world. We'll look at this. And if you suffer from a migraine or migraine attacks, I have help on the way. Jump on the YouTube or TikTok link. It's all there. Leave us a message. Right now it's news time. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker. Very good morning.
And it's another gold medal for New Zealand at the Paris Olympics, courtesy of a couple of rowing mums.
Gonna be the Kiwis from Romania, then Britain with bronze. New Zealand had that stamina.
That's the Sky Sport call as Brooke Francis and Lucy Spores won the double sculls final. Both athletes took time away from rowing to have children following the Tokyo Games. An emotional Spores told Sky Sport Francis means much to her.
Having done this together, I know what it takes, for both of us to be here, and we've had to rely on each other on so many of the tough days.
Francis told Sky Sport they hadn't won a race together until this campaign.
There's definitely been a lot of fifth places, and we've just had to pick ourselves up and get on with it.
And New Zealand's men's 4 won silver and the women's 4 bronze to add to the medal haul. New Zealand now has 2 golds, 2 silvers and a bronze to sit 11th on the medal table. To news, there is shock and anger over the failure of agencies to help vulnerable children. A follow-up assessment to the 2021 murder of Malachi Subich shows kids in a similar situation today are not any safer. Chief Children's Commissioner Claire Ahmed is frustrated.
1 child dies every 5 weeks in our country from homicide. So we have to let this moment galvanise us.
A West Auckland eatery has laid bare the ugly truth when it comes to ordering Uber Eats. Fried Chicken headquarters in Henderson is pleading with its customers to order directly with them. The restaurant made more than $800 in sales over 3 days, but was paid just $84 after covering fees and costs. An American Wall Street Journal reporter, Evan Gershkovich, has been freed in a prisoner swap involving 7 countries. CNN's Nick Robertson says he, along with several others, will likely be traumatised.
You are mentally isolated, physically isolated, you are worn down, by the work that you have to do that's been described by Brittany Griner.
And Turkey has declared a day of mourning over the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh. There is speculation he was killed by a bomb smuggled months earlier into the heavily guarded complex in Tehran. Israel's neither confirmed nor denied they were behind the killing. That's news and sport.
Thanks, Grace. Those fees, is that fees on the chicken? So they only make $84 on $800 worth of sales. So who takes the fees? That's Uber Eats. God.
See, I don't even use Uber Eats anymore. We used it a couple of times, but you notice things like McDonald's, like a Big Mac combo always has a couple of bucks added to it.
Yeah, because of that.
Because of that. So it's just not worth it. You may as well just go out.
It's
tempting when you've been hungover, I will admit. There's been a few Sundays when I've looked into it, but
yes,
I'd rather just go to the cafe down the road and get a pie.
Yeah, that's not a business model that can survive. I mean, if you're
no, and that's why they're asking customers, just come to us.
Come direct.
Call up, use it that way.
Makes sense to me. Good stuff.
Duncan, Garner.
Okay, so Kiwi businesses collapsing and being closed down at twice the rate compared to just 2 years ago. ago. More than 600 businesses called in the liquidators over the past 3 months. 2 years ago, that number was around, over the same time period, was about 300. And company liquidations are up 19% in the month of July just gone. Most of them coming from the troubled construction and property sectors. But that doesn't take into account the businesses too small to even liquidate. Around 50,000 businesses just closed the doors and they walk away in the last year. That's what's happened in the last year. Little fanfare, no media coverage, just quietly closed the doors for the last time. Keith McLaughlin is Chief Executive of Centrix, and he joins me now. Keith, g'day, nice to see you, mate.
Yeah, Dan.
50,000, I think 49,200 was the number. What sort of businesses are they closing down?
Well, a lot of them are retail businesses, hospitality. They're the small ones that really have been hit by the cost of living and also by the interest rate rises over the last 12 months.
And what would it normally be? So if we've seen 50,000 in the last year, well, that's up, of course.
It's certainly up. It's up about 38%, I think. So, yes, it's well up from where it was 12 months ago.
So it's almost doubled, isn't it?
Yes, it has, yes.
And so what are you saying? Is this they just can't, there's just no money trading through the doors?
I think what they found is that because consumers have really been under the pump and had to cut back on their discretionary spending, small businesses like hospitality, retail haven't had the money coming across the counter. Their costs have continued to rise because a lot of those businesses are funded by mortgages against the proprietor's house. So their cost of staff costs, their interest rates have continued to go up, and their revenue across the counter has dropped.
How long have you been in this game?
Oh, my brother and I started Baycorp back in 1987.
Oh, you're Baycorp? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So I've been around a long time.
Okay, so is this the worst you've seen it?
Yes, it is. I think because it's been more widespread. I think when you looked at things like the GFC and the Asian financial crisis, they tended to be targeted to maybe the stock exchange or people who have money invested in the finance company. But it's far broader this time.
87 share market crash?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I was there through that, and certain people who had investments lost a lot of money, and a lot of assets come on the market very cheap, BMW cars and boats. But it affected a far smaller percentage of the population.
Because this is really corrosive, isn't it? This just seems to spread and spread and spread, and still we don't know if we're at the peak or the end of it. You know, if we're about to turn the corner. It feels like we're about to, but the news keeps getting bad. I mean, Fisher House, a big restaurant in East Auckland, went under yesterday.
Yeah, I think we found some time ago that consumers were really under the pump, not because of where the interest rates are, but because of the rapid rise of interest rates caught a lot of them off guard. We've now seen that arrears for consumers are now stabilising. In fact, over the last 6 months, are starting to ease away a wee bit.
I saw them come back here. I think it was 465,000 people in arrears of some sort, down 9,000. So from May, I think, this year. So that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been trending down really since January. January was really high, but it's been trending down since then. So I think once the consumer confidence starts to come back into the market, they'll start spending again, and that'll help the businesses.
Yeah, the interest rates need to be cut, don't they? I mean, it starts there with the message from the Reserve Bank, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And consumer confidence is everything in this world. And I think if consumers start to believe, I think the one saving grace has been employment. That's remained fairly strong.
Until now.
And if that starts to erode away, then confidence will fall away. But if people think they can spend their money, they've got money coming in, confidence will build again, and then that will flow through to the businesses.
This is what inflation does, and a lot of people wouldn't have seen inflation because we've largely had this piece under control until now. So for decades, we didn't really see much of it. Sort of 2-3% was max. Now we've seen what it does. Yep. We'll see what high interest rates aren't even historically. They're not even that high.
No,
I was paying 10% in 2007, so get real.
Yeah. But 2007 houses were an awful lot cheaper, and people had less debt on the books. So I think it's a combination of coming on the back of a rapid rise in asset values, caught people out.
How many sort of zombie firms are out there anyway in any 1 year? Because businesses always close down.
They
right?
do, yes.
Yeah, but this time you're saying it's 50,000 or close to 50,000, which is twice normally what it is.
I think you always see bad businesses close. I think what we're seeing now is good businesses close.
See, that's sad, isn't it?
And that's right. People invest a lot of their time, their effort. And when a business closes, it affects people. And often they've put money into the business, they mortgage their house to finance the business. So it's the flow-on impact on people's lives that really is concerning.
And do you see the human toll? Do you, from where you sit? Or are you sort of more than numbers?
Yeah, we're more than numbers.
Yeah. But behind that is...
Yeah, we know behind that. I mean, we're in the community. We know what's going on. We've got people working for us. And I've been in the industry long enough to know that there is always a flow-on impact. And going back in the days when I was debt collecting, you saw the rough end of the pineapple.
Well, you're knocking on doors, were you?
Well, that's how I first started. I used to be out on the weekends repossessing. So
I'm not going to mess with you.
Yeah, I've had my turn of that.
Power bills. Just looking at some of your data from the last 24 hours. people are struggling with their power bills even, aren't they?
They are. I think when you look at arrears, most of them are falling away, but retail energy is the opposite to that. It's been rising. And we put that down to, it's certainly seasonal because the bills are higher at this time of the year, so that obviously impacts that. But also, consumers have cut back on discretionary spending. They're not going to the restaurants, they're not going to the cafes
That's
to the
obvious,
same
isn't it?
extent. Yeah. But they still have to use power and they still have to pay for power. So that's really where the sore
That
appears.
hardship stuff, I think it's up close to on 30%. People are putting in place some of those hardship options. That's really high, isn't it?
Yeah, although I don't see that as a bad thing.
That's a good thing, yeah.
I think a hardship is good because if somebody is struggling to pay their mortgage, the fact that the lender and the borrower are talking to each other and restructuring the loan and doing what they need to do to manage their way through it, that's really positive. And I think that's why we haven't seen a high number of mortgagee sales coming through.
That's true, isn't it? There have been some, but it has
Certainly not
no
what
big
you'd
headline.
not what you expect.
It's the retail shops. It's these shops that are just clinging on. They were at the start of the year and they've really had no good news. I think we're set to see more, aren't we?
Well, I think so. It's a combination of the fact that, as you say, consumers aren't speeding like they used to. Also, online has grown quite dramatically over the last 2 years, and I think that's taking a lot of money away from the Queen Street shops. So I think the real estate shops are really struggling. You've seen that with Smith & Co. and other businesses.
How much longer are we in this for, do you reckon?
Well, look, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think consumers are now in control of their finances, and I think come September, October, we'll start to see more consumer confidence coming through as there's more confidence that interest rates aren't going to go any higher, cost of living isn't going to go any higher. So I think consumer confidence will come back in September, October.
And of course, so much of this is linked to the housing market. We, as an economy, we are $1.8 trillion housing market, which really controls the economy itself. So we have other businesses attached to housing. So when housing goes, we all go, but when it bounces back, we all come back.
That's right. And I think a lot of people are putting off discretionary spending. They're not doing the renovations. They're not buying a new car. They're putting it back till next year. They're not going to go out and buy a boat. They're going to defer that until they have more certainty about what's going to happen.
But they'll come again, though. I mean, New Zealanders don't like to be down for too long.
No, it'll bounce back. No question.
Well, good luck. You have a job for life, haven't you? I mean, are you got any jobs going? Are you hiring anyone?
You were hiring people.
I
Yes,
think you
absolutely.
are. Yeah, yourself and the liquidators. Yeah. All right, Keith, I appreciate your time on the program.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Duncan Garner.
Yeah, now, Keith, he knows. I mean, if anyone knows the state of the New Zealand economy and the struggles behind it, he knows. He's set up Baycorp in the 80s, and he's just said it. This is the worst time to be running a business. This is the worst stage he's seen the economy in his lifetime. It is remarkable. It really is. Send us your feedback. Details are all online there. Jump on YouTube, send us a message, TikTok, the whole thing's all there. Let's talk sport now. Gary Denver. Gary, g'day, mate. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good morning.
It's been a golden 24 hours.
It's been a golden 24 hours. It's actually been a golden, silver and bronze 24 hours.
Hasn't it? And we're 11th on the table. I don't know how they even do this stuff, 11th on the table.
Yeah,
sounds impressive.
It goes on the number of gold medals first.
Yeah.
The actual number of medals, we don't look quite so flash. But
Yes, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, gold medals, we're doing okay.
Take us through it. So the rowers who hadn't run a race together won a race.
Yeah, amazing. Watching that race, they looked amazing. They weren't meant to win it, but they didn't know that apparently because it's
the best win, isn't it?
Looked like
Yeah.
losing.
Yeah. So who are we talking about?
Fantastic. Lucy Spores and Brooke Francis in the women's double. They were just incredible.
Amazing. Cool, we've done well on the double
So
over the
women's
years.
pair, rather.
Yeah.
It's the Eva Swindell twins used to
Eric
own
Murray
that as well.
yeah.
So really good to see that and then it was followed up straight away with a silver in the men's 4, and that was an amazing race as well.
The Cox's 4,
The
isn't it?
USA won that event for the first time in about 70 years or something.
It's amazing.
And the Kiwis went toe-to-toe with them all the way. That was only really won in the last 200 metres.
Do you know, with rowing, the last time we didn't win a medal at the Olympic Games, you have to go back to 1996.
Yeah.
So what's that? 24 plus 4. What's that? 28 years. So 28 years we've won Olympic medals.
We're bloody good at sitting down.
We're good at sitting down and pulling.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to say that, Gary. I had to say that.
I'll let you do that.
What? Say it or anyway.
Well, yeah.
What else we got?
And then of course the women's 4 came in with a bronze, and very exciting. Lucy Spores watching her sister Phoebe in the 4, and she looked very emotional. Very different to my family. If that was my brother and I, the one that won the gold would be rubbing it in the face of the one that won the bronze.
Complete arsehole. Yeah, I know that feeling too. Look what I've got, you know?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
medals
you've got
are
a
cool
medal.
too,
That's
don't they?
nice. What colour is it? Oh.
Just let me. You can try it on for size, not for long. Though.
Exactly.
So we're 11th on the table. I think we've done.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
And as I was coming out, I didn't see the result yet, but Lewis Clareburt was in the 200 IM trying to get into the final.
Saw that. I think he was in the semi, wasn't he? So.
Yeah, he was in the semi. I didn't see the result of that one. It was coming as I came in. And we got the women's 4x200 metre free trying to get into a final as well.
Yeah, I still think that Hayden Wild reaction. He's such a mature 26-year-old. But what he's done, he's flew his whole family over. I mean, I've just been catching up in the last 24 hours. What a brilliant man. What a brilliant leader. What an amazing, mature guy. And I reckon he's the athlete of the games for me so far.
He was brilliant. And the fact that he gave the credit to his teammate, because, people don't see triathlon as a team sport. Generally,
no, it is. No, it's like cycling.
Very much so.
Yeah, you pull your guy
in that
through.
space when you're the one that's supposed to be on the middle, and he was always the one of the two that was going to get there. For his teammate to slow down to help him through that cycle early on was just amazing.
God, I wish he'd won. And he's got his stepdad there, he's got his real dad there, and the stepdad's crying in the village. I can't believe this. The struggle we've got. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
What else is going on?
It's Olympics through and through, but there is some other things going on. We've got the Warriors back in action tonight. They're playing the Eels in Auckland.
Must win.
As they're all must wins from here on.
When you had a really bad time a few months back, you got to win them all at the end of the season.
Exactly.
Will they beat the Eels? What are the Eels like?
Yeah, they should beat the Eels, I think. Eels aren't bad.
It's the Warriors, mate.
I know. Yeah.
It's at home though.
You can actually say that Warriors should beat every team they face.
Well, they
because
can.
They can.
Yeah.
But they can also lose to every team they face. This is the problem.
Top 2 inches.
And of course, on Sunday, the ANZ Premiership netball final, Pulse hosting the Mystics. Pulse hosts by a virtue of being the top team through the pool play, but the team in the best form right now is the Mystics, so that should be a cracker.
Good on you, Gary. Nice to see you, mate.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Yep, we'll do it all again on Monday.
Duncan Garner.
Right, your feedback coming in, Dunks. The real unemployment's 11.6%, said Denzeth. The CPI, which is inflation, doesn't take into account mortgages, land values and related bank transactions. So the real unemployment's about almost 12%. It probably is. Duncan, it's now cheaper to catch a cab, so good on you, Uber, LOL. That's outrageous, eh? That it costs so much to... Do you use Uber Eats, Kayla?
I think that's wrong.
Do you?
Because that is bullshit, because... In Gisborne, when I called an Uber, they
have Uber in Gisborne.
They don't have Uber, they have taxis.
Yeah.
$22 to go 3.5 kilometres. That is wrong. Now, for me to go from here to Spark Arena, which is about 4K, is about $12.
$12, yeah. Well, does it depend on the time of day?
Yeah. Uber, I must say, Uber does hike prices at peak times.
You drink
but it's much cheaper than a taxi during the vast majority of the day.
Yeah.
They've got surge charging as well. So if you're at a rugby game and there's
is that Forrester?
Yeah.
Welcome, Forrester. How are you?
Thanks. Good morning.
Mate? How was your Uber this morning?
It was good.
Touch late.
It was good. I accidentally forgot to make the company pay for it, so I paid for it.
Oh, well. Well, grab it. Did you get a little receipt or something?
It's okay. That's fine. I'll pay for that one.
You'll pay, all right, boy.
But yeah, if you're at a rugby game and there's 100 people trying to leave the rugby game, there's been situations overseas where people's prices have gone up over $300.
That's ridiculous.
Just for surge pricing.
It was going to cost me $120 to get back from a Killers concert at about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was at the town hall. They played a show after their main show at Spark Arena. It was going to cost me $120 because of the surcharges.
Yeah, that's right. $120. You didn't pay it, did you?
No, shit no. I ended up walking to the bus stop and getting that.
Oh, well done. Use your legs. Good, that's not
YY Express, no?
Yeah, the YY Express.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief.
Okay, so number one today goes like this. Yes. Does Shane Retty, a.k.a. Dr. Sigaretti, have any idea what he's doing in health? If he does, then he's yet to convince me. And it appears to go from crisis to fresh crisis. So the board is dumped, right? Accused of not being able to, read, write and count. Then the new government flavour of the month, Lester Levy, takes over and says, we don't need more money, which is odd because health can always spend more money. And then we find out that nurses were sent job offers but then had them recalled. Sorry, just joking, no jobs here. Try your luck in Australia. And then there's no doctors available in northern hospitals like Dargaville. So can you please get sick when the doctors come back? Don't get sick now. Get sick tomorrow when the doctors are back. Maybe you go to Australia. Maybe you can get sick and go to Australia and you'll get better care. At number 2, oh dear. How does TVNZ find another $30 million of savings? Not easily. Does the news need to go to half an hour? Do you cut 7 sharp? Well, what's left to cut? Do you sell it? Do you stop the executives and CEO travelling around the world? There's a start. Can you get any more tone deaf than travelling the world at the same time as you're laying off staff members at home? Yes, Jodie Donald, she is paying for herself. That's what the TVNZ have said, haven't they? But, of course, that's probably come belatedly, hasn't it?
3.
And at number 3, is it true that goldfish have been found to have a memory that can last up to a year? This is totally true. Which is good for remembering escape routes when the big hungry fish come at you. But if you're in a goldfish bowl at Caleb's house, who cares? It can't talk or grunt and it can't even tell people what you've been up to in your own home. So thanks for the research. I hope it didn't cost too much and take too long.
Garner.
Yeah, so for anyone who has ever had a migraine, you have my sympathy big time because I get them. I get a few of them every year. It's a deep thumping headache. I can't look at the light. I lie down in the dark until it goes away. I used to get them more when I was younger, playing rugby and drinking after games and things like that, but it was just awful. Nearly 750,000 Kiwis were estimated to have a migraine attack in 2021. The good news is there are great treatments out there. The bad news is many of those treatments are out of reach, according to new research from the Migraine Foundation. And who knew there even was one? Ella Jensen-Graham has had migraine disease since she was 9, and while her attacks are excruciatingly painful, she says the worst part isn't the pain, it's how the disease is stigmatised. And she joins me now to explain. G'day, nice to have you on the program.
Morning, nice to be here.
Yeah, so I'm with you on this. I don't get them as much as I used to, but when you tell people you've got them, they have no idea, and I just have to hide and go into the dark. There's a real stigma attached, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, for sure. Mostly just because you can't tell. You look completely the same. It's just how you're feeling on the inside.
So what's the way through this? There are some good treatments around?
Yeah, there are treatments around. There's lots of different types of preventative treatments. They're not always effective for each person. Everyone has an individual response to treatment, but there are some pretty amazing new treatments available in New Zealand currently, which are having an amazing effect for people.
And how does that look? How does that work?
There are 2 types of injections, which are monthly injections. I've tried both of them. They're currently unfunded in New Zealand, but it's self-administered injection, and it is a preventative. So it probably I'd just describe it as it decreases the frequency and severity of migraine pain.
And how much does that cost? What's the cost of that?
I was paying, I think, for one of them around $600 to $700 a month, and then the other one I tried was $300 a month.
It's pricey, right? So it's going to be out of reach for a lot of people. We need to fund it. We need to somehow
definitely
get it taken seriously. Is it taken seriously, the migraine attacks?
Depends who you talk to. I've had, it's a hard one because everybody experiences headaches, I guess, at one time in their life, tension headaches or a hangover or, a coffee withdrawal headache, which I think because other people can experience headaches, that's the assumption that it's the same thing, but it really, really isn't. What's the difference then? And what causes a migraine? What does the research tell us? Everybody has different triggers, but it's a genetic disease, so there's not necessarily an individual thing that sets it off. The difference, I guess I would explain it, is it can start with a headache, but then it'll move to behind your eyes, and you'll have debilitating pain, which could last for a couple of hours if you're able to treat it with medication, or through to 3 days long. You can get nausea. Some people get visual effects, which is aura. So it's quite different to a headache. I found myself, you talk about the pain behind the eyes, I find myself pushing my eyes in to try and release the pain, and so I sort of massage my bones around my head. This is because, in the past I've been desperate to get rid of the pain, so I've tried to find some solution. How does it impact your life, for instance? Like time off work and things like that? Yeah, it's pretty hard. I am on a good treatment plan now, which is great. But the last 4 years, it's hard in a social setting. I mean, I'm in my 20s and I'm constantly cancelling plans with friends. For a long time, I couldn't drink and go out. So it's hard in that sense, and hard to get other younger people to understand what it is, and you're not just being a bad friend. And then in terms of work, it's tricky. I'm in a good job where I'm able to work flexibly, and if I couldn't do that, I wouldn't be able to do my job.
Yeah. That's the thing about friends and getting them to understand it, because they might think, oh, you're just a hypochondriac, you're not bleeding, we can't see any problem with you here. You're always cancelling on us, It's about getting them to understand. Good friends will understand, but it's, you have to keep convincing them.
Yeah, for sure.
So in terms of what's next for migraines, is it true that we can't even refer to them as migraines? You have to talk about migraine attacks. Is that correct? So the language has changed around it?
Yeah, it's we're trying to have a language shift at the moment, because the idea that you have a migraine is a one-off event, and it's only, when you're having it that's affecting you. But that's not true. We live with migraine. Most people with chronic migraine probably have some form of headache every single day. And if you're not having the pain, you might be having the post-stroke afterwards, which is feeling tired and groggy and not being able to concentrate. So it's the idea that we live with migraine, but we have migraine attacks or a migraine flare-up when it's really bad.
And did you say with your ones you can be out of action for 3 days?
Yeah. I've had 3 or 4 day long migraines at certain points, which is not easy.
No, it's not. It's sort of the toll on your life if it keeps coming, every now and then, every month or whatever. Just the toll just sort of keeps coming for you. What's the with the treatments that are coming on board? Are there also other treatments and other ways of addressing migraines rather than just like the needle? Yeah. You talk about this new needle, but what else is there out there?
There's a whole list of preventative medications which people can try, and it's really based on their doctor's understanding that there is a treatment plan for migraine. So I've worked my way through 8 different medications over the last 4 years. Wow. And everybody's so different around what they respond to. So the first one could have worked for someone, then it hasn't worked for me. So there's a lot of different preventative medications. I currently get Botox for migraine. So every 3 months I get Botox, which has helped massively.
How does that work? So hang on a second, I'm in the wrong game. How does the Botox work?
Yeah, so they're not fully sure how it works in terms of stopping migraine, but it was found out through getting usual Botox procedure that people were coming back and saying, oh, this has actually helped my headaches. And so it's been used for quite a long time as a migraine treatment. So I get 32 injections in my head and in the back of my neck and in my shoulders every 3 months, and that has just decreased the severity and frequency of them.
That's remarkable. That's costly though, isn't it?
Yes, that's also unfunded. So that's about $1,500 every 3 months.
Wow. Okay. So is Botox safe?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'll try that. I'd never heard of that. That's incredible. It's incredible. Hey, does your boss understand? Does people you work for? You say you work a bit from home, but do you find that they understood initially, or they had to get sort of coaxed into the understanding of it all?
I think I brought them along the journey. So I work in the civil service, and when I first started, I struggled with the work environment, with the lightings in the office and screens, and it did take me a while to build the confidence to be able to say this is actually what I need. But they've all listened, and it has taken a lot of self-advocacy to be able to get what I need. But I'm in a good space, and my boss is really great. Yeah,
it sounds like you're in a good space too. What would you say to others? Just finally, what would you say to people who are listening and watching this and suddenly, maybe feeling some hope? What would you say to them?
I would say, firstly, you're not alone. There's a huge community of us out there, and there's the Migraine Foundation have set up a community group on Facebook, which is just really good to feel support and talk to people and get ideas around treatments and what to do. And also, I think a thing that's really helped me is you've got to keep on with hope, because 4 years ago, these CGRP medications didn't exist in New Zealand, and now they do. So I think it's just the idea that new things will come about, and you've just got to be persistent.
Yeah. No, you're really mature about it too. So good on you, Ella. I appreciate your time. Been really helpful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Duncan, Garner.
So if I got Botox, I'd look younger. So this could be, I could kill 2 birds with one stone. Get rid of the migraines and suddenly look 20. Yeah, I don't think I want to do this, do I? No. Do I? I don't know. There's some options there. JB's asked me, how do you get 11.9% unemployment? Well, you get it because people are out of work. It's as simple as that.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, earlier in the podcast, I spoke of the number of companies that have officially called in the liquidators. More than 600 firms in just 3 months have found that they simply couldn't continue. They couldn't trade. They had far too many bills and debts and not enough money coming in. So a liquidator's called in, hired to come in and manage the business, pay the bills if possible, and wind it down. That's called liquidation. The latest collapse came yesterday. Iconic East Auckland eatery Fisher House closed its doors. A sign on the door says, "Sorry," to the regulars. We're over. Across building, construction, cafes, bars, restaurants, the struggle has been real, and for many, it's now got too big and too much to cope with, and it's lights out. It's over. Strangely and sadly, this is the brutal side of what success looks like when you are so-called winning the war against inflation. It's about collapsing parts of the economy. This is Adrian Orr's dream result. For him to have success in lowering inflation, he must engineer, orchestrate, execute a managed and staged collapse of a once strong and proud economy. This is what's happening right now. I would say, how on earth does he do it? Well, I suppose being paid $83,000 every month makes it easier. You would easily lose touch with people at $83,000 a month, overseeing the collapse of businesses and people joining the dole queue. You'd have to ditch any empathy that you feel for people and just do it. And pocket the handsome salary, wouldn't you? Which no doubt makes it all a bit more easier for him and bearable. So he has to cut interest rates, doesn't he? He's got to do this next week. I'd cut them next week. Businesses need a signal as soon as possible that they can no longer wait till Christmas. They won't make it. We must salvage what we can now, Adrian. On the home fronts, that's what people have been doing, basically, juggling the fact that they have barely enough money to stay afloat. 465,000 New Zealanders have got behind on their loans. So loan repayments, things like mortgages, which while it sounds like a lot, it's 9,000 fewer than earlier in the year. So we've actually turned the corner, but ever so slowly on household debt. It's the perhaps weekly and regular smaller bills where people are really struggling. They struggle the most in this area. It's simply gobbling up the bank and the mortgage bank fees and mortgage rates. This is gobbling up the money. And there's been an almost 30% year-on-year increase in people formally invoking hardship clauses, which is a good thing that they have them. So banks might restructure their payments. Power companies might look at other options if families are struggling with the power bills. And they are. Increasingly, Kiwis are struggling to pay their power bills. Power bills. They can't pay them anymore. But relief isn't far off. You got your tax cuts this week. You few bucks you got, and mortgage rates are coming down. So when and at what rate relies on Adrian Orr, Come on, Adrian, you've got to get on with it.
Duncan Garner.
Right, before we go, I just want to change things on our plonker rankings. Cigaretti's going up, because he's struggling with the New Zealand Health Service, isn't he? He's turned into a debacle. They offered nurses a job and then had to pull the offer. Oh, sorry, maybe go to Australia. He's going to the top. Not here to Darlene. No, he's going to take Matua Shane's role. There we go. I'm going to put him here, okay? So Matua Shane's coming off. Shane can drop down there, but he's still trying to mine, so we can put him down there somewhere. And there's Cigaretti. He's going here. Who came up with that? You, Kaylo. I love the Cigaretti line. I think it's great. For a government that brought smoking back again, we're going to make smoking great again.
We can probably take Canada soccer off now, can't we?
No, they cheated.
Well, they still
bring
made
it off
it
at the end of the Olympics.
They still made it through after getting negative points.
Oh, no, Nobby. Shane, come back! Anyway, that's what we're doing there. People are telling me don't do it. You're fine as you are. Don't do Botox, Duncan. It's a waste of money. You look fine anyway. Thank you so much. Actually, the emails are pouring in saying that. Yeah. Point is pain relief. Yeah, I get it. Who knew, though? Who knew? This will be available as a podcast very, very shortly, as Caleb will go and post it. What are you doing, Caleb? Wherever you get your podcast, jump on Rover. It's all there. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Lester's Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. Use code Duncan for 10% off. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. Use that Duncan label because that will get you 10% off, okay? Right, thank you for your feedback. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. What's going on, Caleb? Is this like I'm at a Greens party conference doing some Morris dancing or something? Seriously, I feel like I'm on the Titanic. I am, aren't I? That's cool, isn't it? Pan flute, yeah. Nice. Very nice. This needs to be stronger, doesn't it? Okay, Caleb, thank you so much, Caleb. Miranda, Zarina and Forrester, thank you so much. Forrester, thank you so much. We'll do this all again on Monday. Take care, folks. Have a nice weekend. Look after yourselves. Remember, there's no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. Enjoy the pan flute. Have a great weekend. Ta-da. like someone's voice is breaking, isn't it?